What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and today we are coming at you for the match preview between the upcoming game this Sunday against Borussia Dortmund and Werder Bremen. So there's a couple things we're going to touch on. Obviously the usuals of going through the current form, the last 5 head-to-heads, and of course my predicted lineup. But there, like I said at the end of the game against Manchester City, there's a lot to play for. There's a lot to play for this season, and it starts right with Bremen, getting off on a good foot, getting those invalid points, and then start competing for top 4. Because I made a tweet earlier today, and some of you guys might have saw it, and I was saying that there's some huge games that are being played this weekend. There's massive potential that Gladbach may take points from Frankfurt, and of course, Munich, hopefully this time, will take points from Wolfsburg, and they'll open the floodgates. And if those points go our way this weekend and we get a big win here, we're within 4, and with 5 games to go, it's anybody's competition to win. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that the boys will be a little bit encouraged from the City game. I know it'll be disappointing, but like I said, like Manchester City is Manchester City. They were heavy favorites, but we need to take the performance we had, kind of work on a little bit, tweak a couple things, and go in here against Bremen and hopefully do well. So we'll bring up the first little bit for you guys to keep an eye on today, and that is the last 5 matches that we've played against Werder Bremen. Specifically looking at, of course, the one that we will be touching on the most, and that's the game that we just pretty much played against them. But in the last 5, we went 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. So we do relatively okay against Bremen. It's not a team that we usually run over. They've obviously have the experience of knocking us out of the cup competition. Let's hope that's not the case this season. But the one I want to focus on the most was earlier this season, where we defeated them 2-1. It was Edin Teresic's first game in charge. We went with the 4-2-3-1 formation, and it was a tight affair. It wasn't the prettiest bounce back game since sacking Lucien Favre, but it was a decent game nonetheless. Marco Reus had that penalty save, but was there to tuck in the rebound anyways. And yeah, and that was about it. So there wasn't too much to touch on in the last game, just the fact that it was an important win, especially starting Edin Teresic's tenure here on the right note. But hopefully you guys will be excited to see that as well. Alex says he doesn't want to remember the City game. Look at the man's beard. I'm shaving it probably tonight. It's thick. Producer T is not impressed, but yeah, it's a challenge. But either way, so now we'll move on to the last 5, because we'll take a look at the form of these two teams. We'll take a look at Werder Bremen's form, which is not very good. Werder Bremen is not in good form. I thought they were in a little bit better form than they were, but in their last 5 games, they are 1 win, 0 draws, 4 losses, and the 1 win came in the Pokal. So not the best results there for Werder Bremen, which I guess we could take that with considering the only team that they beat was a team in, I believe, the third division. So Werder Bremen really isn't in good form. They had some tough games though, so don't take that too lightly. They took on Bayern, they took on Wolfsburg, they took on Leipzig, even Stuttgart's a solid side, and now they're taking on us. It's a tough run of games for Werder Bremen, but now they're used to playing some of the teams at the top of the table, so maybe that can help them out. But all in all, like I said, going in to form, we're the team that looks in the better form, man. And if you take a look at our form, it's not much better. It's not much better because we've had they are the Pokal merchants. That is very true. That is very true. They always do well in the Pokal. As I said, they've taken us out a couple years in a row for the Pokal, and then of course that's the only win they've won in their last 5. But for us, I mean, we've won 1, we drew 1, and we lost 3. So, I mean, you can take our last 5 any way you want. 2 of those games were against City, as you guys know. 1 was a pretty annoying loss to Frankfurt, which as we all know, sucked. And then, of course, the draw against Cologne was annoying. We did have a decent outing in our last Bundesliga match against Stuttgart, where we won 3-2. It's gonna be a tough affair, this one against Bremen. It always is, but I think the fact that we took 3 points of them away from home, and we're coming off a bitter loss to City, but you gotta take it. You gotta take it with motivation, because there was some good things you saw in that match. We're going into a tough stage, but the most important thing is taking a look over at the other games going on, and I'm gonna be up watching trying to do a dual thing, but I'll be watching the Bayern game, I'll be watching the Gladbach game, because they matter so much for this top 4 race. And if they go our way, man, we're within a few points, and anything can happen. So I'm excited to see it. But yes, they are the Pokal merchants. Josh, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Coming here for the match preview. Gonna shave my beard, as some of you guys can notice. It is big. We need Sancho back. We do need Sancho back, but I don't believe he's going to be there. Hey, Abe from our man Payne. As I said, we move from the City game. Yes, well said, Alex. Alex did not want to discuss the City game, and I don't really want to discuss it either. It sucked. It is what it is. It could have went our way if a couple calls and whatnot, but like I said, there's still so much to play for. Every single game for the remainder of the season is basically like a final, including the hopeful final we'll be in on May the 13th. But let's bring up our starting 11. We're gonna take a look at this is my predicted starting 11. We'll get your guys' thoughts on it as well. I don't know exactly what to think. This is a bit of a off-brand starting 11 for me. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the 4-3-2-1. You guys do know that I like the 4-3-2-1 even in games where we are gonna have a lot more of the ball. I don't like the formation I'm going with, but this is my prediction. This is what I think the starting 11 will look like. I think it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. The main reason is because when we take on teams like Bremen, like Freiburg, like Augsburg, like those type of teams, we like to play with the 4-2-3-1 and get the extra man up forward. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I'd like to see the 4-3-2-1 just because, like I said, that right midfielder, and I'm looking at Gio in this particular lineup, seems to be very isolated when we do this formation. I just have a feeling this will be the formation. In goal, it'll be Hitz. Again, no surprise. I thought he had an excellent game against City. The Foden goal he let in wasn't the best goal, but again, he had a good game. Our keeper's been issues this season, and I still think Hitz is going to be the man to see it the rest of the season. Murai better start at right back. Chan could start at right back. It's an option. I hope Mounier does not start at right back, but I'm hoping Murai just continues on his form with the Kanji Hummels as our center backs, Guerrero on our left back, and I think Guerrero will have a much better game today. For me, he has to. When it comes to having possession, this is where we're going to see him utilized, and it should be a lot of fun seeing him go up that flank. Chan and Bellingham, I think, will be in the midfield. I would start Dahoud and Bellingham, but I just, with Delaney being injured, obviously Witzel's still out. I don't know exactly what they're going to do in that midfield, but I'm hoping that it's Dahoud, Bellingham, and maybe Chan at right back if they're going to fit Chan in. I don't know why. I have a feeling Chan will be in there, but I mean, it easily could be Dahoud and Bellingham, but this is just my gut is telling me it's going to be Chan and Bellingham. And then the front three, which of course worries me. It's Royce. I think it's going to be Hazard. I think it's going to be Gio with Haaland up front. But that three-man attacking midfield has just not worked out this season. And you guys know it. I know it. But I just have a feeling we're going to see it. I would like to see only two up there, two attacking midfielders tucked in under Haaland. But I think it'll be interesting to see how they do. They do seem to, even when they play in the 4-2-3-1 and take on teams lower in the table, they do seem to find a way to get the points, which all in all is the most important thing. But again, this formation has me very nervous, and I guess we'll have to wait to see how Bremen copes with it, if they hit on the break, and if they take advantage of that two-man midfield, which honestly tends to have a little vulnerability when we don't have that third party in there. So ideally for me, I'd have Dahoud in there instead of probably Hazard or Gio. Probably instead of Hazard, have the 4-3-2-1, which some of you guys are agreeing with. But I don't think it will be. I think it will be the 4-2-3-1, even though I want it to be the 4-3-2-1. And looking at some of the comments, you guys are agreeing that you think it should be the 4-3-2-1 as well. Can't wait for the Oil Plastico, the Champions League semifinal between PSG and City. I thought you were talking about the Leipzig and Hoffenheim game, but I guess not. But yes, I guess there's a couple of Plasticos coming up. I think people forget that Emre Can has played as the defending roles for the majority of the season. Why he wasn't playing well in the mid? Chan is a baller. Chan, I thought had a good affair on the second leg, but again, it's his two mistakes. His mistake gave away the goal in the first leg, and his mistake gave away the pen. It's hard for fans to take a look at any other part of his game when you make a mistake like that, because I thought Chan was doing well up until that penalty, and then I thought it kind of messed with his head. He knows he made two huge mistakes, which ultimately cost us the tie. But Chan did, in my opinion, have a decent affair up to that point. Terzic is hopeful that Sancho will be back next week, at least on the bench. I'm hoping for that as well. He definitely won't be involved for the Bremen game, but he will be super important for us going forward for the remaining games this season, especially the Pokal, man. That's what I got my eye on, even though I know top four is hopefully a must for us. But it'll be curious, guys, with the two other games going on this weekend. It'll be very, very curious. We need to buy a right winger this season, and hopefully we keep Jaden. Yes, we lack wingers. That is definitely an option that we need to take a look at. How good is Ansgar Knopf? Knopf is fantastic. Knopf is just a fantastic winger, and he could be in the starting 11. But the young legs, I felt like maybe in a game like this, if it's not going away, bringing Knopf off the bench with that pace. That's why I didn't have him in my starting 11. But I wouldn't be surprised if he starts as well. Josh, did you like the video I sent you on Discord? Have not looked at it yet, my man. Have not looked at it, but I will get to it. But let's take up a little bit of our key matchups here today. Because taking a look at Bremen's side, there's a couple players that I want to take a look at. And for any of you Americans who may be watching, may know who I might be talking about. But the first one is going to be Joshua Sargent versus Mats Hummels. I think Sargent is a interesting striker. He's not, in my opinion, he's not someone who scores a lot of goals. Tactical manager could give you more information on that, but he's not a real natural goal scorer. But he does everything else. He's good at holding up the play. He's a good little engine. He's good at running down the ball and putting pressures on the defense. And I think Hummels is going to have the big game here to keep an eye on him. Not in the goal scoring charts because he's not a huge goal scorer, Joshua Sargent, but he does do well linking up the play. And Hummels is going to have to keep an eye on that. He's a creative center forward, and Hummels is just going to have to mark that man and hopefully stop any break that he can have. And then Hummels will obviously, again, when he likes having time on the ball, he likes picking up passes. The thing that Joshua Sargent is good at doing is closing down the ball and running on the center backs. So you guys know we like playing out from the back a little bit and picking up those passes. So Hummels is going to have to adapt his game a little bit because Joshua Sargent will be closing down on him every single light of the way. And the other matchup is the big one. It's the big one that we need to talk about. It's Erling Haaland versus Pavlenka, and that's because Haaland's been quiet. There's a lot of pressure on him riding up. He's in a goalless drought that he's not used to, being someone as talented as he is, and it's time for him to break that duck. And Pavlenka is a solid keeper. He's a fantastic keeper for Bremen, and he's going to be the man, obviously, between the sticks in the game, and he's going to be the man looking to keep Erling Haaland out. So, in my opinion, Haaland needs to break his duck. This is the game to do it. We're home. We've already beat them away in Terisic's first game. It'll be the first time that Terzic can get a double over a team, so hopefully he'll be able to go in there against Bremen, take a good look, and it's time for his main man to relax a little bit and break that goalless drought because he needs to. So I'm expecting a huge game. I'm expecting a huge game from Erling Haaland, and those are my kind of key matchups to keep an eye on. And I'm desperate that Haaland can find his goal-scoring boots because the remainder of this season, like I said, there's so much to play for still, even though it doesn't seem like there's like a ton left. There is. Top 4 is huge, as well as winning the Pokal, man, because if we don't get top 4, you better believe we need to win that Pokal to relax some of our supporters here, including myself. So Haaland needs to get firing, and I'm hoping he can do that against Pavlenka in this game here. So those are our key little matchup, guys. We have a City fan in here. Upset monkey. City have Chelsea in the FA Cup semifinals. I'm feeling nervous. That'll be a good game. I'm going to watch that one as well. I'm going to watch the Wolfsburg Bayern game, followed by the City-Chelsea game, finally by the Copa del Rey final, seeing Barca take on Bilbao. So my Saturday will be jam-packed of watching a lot of football. But yeah, we're hoping for Frankfurt and Wolfsburg tomorrow. That's going to be an excellent way to wake up, and if they get those 3 valuable points before our Sunday clash with Bremen, it'll be huge, guys. But we'll see you for the watch-along on Sunday, followed by our 5 takeaways, of course. It will be a lot of fun. We have a couple episodes coming out for you guys. Including one that will be a very interesting Borussia Dortmund transfers video. We have a special guest who will come on that, which you guys, I think, will really enjoy. And, of course, we got Taylor and I's DAB beer review and Q&A, which will be fun, too. So if any of you guys want to ask us any questions, you can go to our community board and put the questions there. And, yeah, and I guess good luck to Barca, as Talking Barca is in the chat. Looking forward to that. But it should be a lot of fun, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in for our match preview. When we get off here, feel free to let us know what your guys' score predictions is. It will be fun, and be sure to drop a like on your way out and subscribe if you're new, guys. So thank you guys so much for the support. We'll see you on Sunday for the match. Watch along, should be fun.